Hi guys, and welcome to an episode of Silver Screen Society. I'm your host, Ore, and anytime that you're here, be expected to have a good chat about all things film, all things TV. And we've got a lovely guest with us today, who I'm going to let introduce herself in a minute. But today we're talking about all things to do with British TV, Black British TV specifically. So we're joined by our guest today, Jessica Magaye. And Jessica, woo! You can introduce yourself. Tell the people what they should know about you.
So I'm a writer and director for TV and film, and I just love all things story and TV and film. That's like my thing, my bag. Yeah,
same. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Black British TV and film. And I kind of want to know, because obviously we're both Black, we're both British. So what is your kind of like earliest recollection of Black British TV, Black British film that kind of being introduced to that world?
For film, I think it was probably kidulthood, for like Black British film. Before that point, because I watched it like relatively young, and I hadn't seen anything like it before. Like people who looked like me, who spoke like me, who were on the big screen. And obviously I didn't watch it in the cinema because I think I was too young at the time to watch it. But it was just really like amazing just to see people like me. And it made the reality of being a filmmaker like possible. Because before that it's like, okay, you have to be American, you have to be in Hollywood or whatnot.
Yeah, fine.
But here I was like, oh shit, this is it's real. Yeah.
I think I'd say the same. I think that would be my earliest. I just remember like people had it on DVD and it did the rounds in school.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like if you were the original owner of that DVD, just forget it. You're not getting it back. Someone would have borrowed it to their friend, who borrowed it to their cousin, who borrowed it to their Yeah. So I think for sure that would have been like my earliest kind of recollection of it as well. I think before that as well, we had so many like interactions with Black American TV, sitcoms, like all types, sitcoms, films, dramas,
action, all of that.
Everything. But it was all very American. So even though it felt really nice, like Trouble was like my favorite
oh my
channel
God.
ever. Right? Like the fact that we had that so readily available. You come back from school and it'd be like Moesha, the Parkers, one-on-one, like just in a row, crazy, but very American.
Very American, yeah.
So I think kidulthood would have been like, the first time where it's like, oh, these people are actually from London. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so obviously we want to celebrate Black British TV, Black British film, but personally, I feel as though you can't talk about the highs without talking about the lows. So we'll start with the lows so that we can end on a high, so we're on like a trajectory. But we'll start with, I guess, like the lows of Black British TV and film. We'll start with, I guess, kind of like opinions that you might have, or maybe things that you've kind of seen with your perspective in the industry, things that you've seen where you're like, well, this isn't great, or this isn't going to get better if we don't change this, or anything.
With the lows.
The lows. We'll start with the lows.
I feel like the low that I'm going to say isn't necessarily related to the creators and more the producers. Okay. So I feel like this is quite controversial.
Go for it.
Oh God, I don't want to get cancelled. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that we see in Black, especially Black British film, is quite same-ish, like in terms of like either gang affiliated or even if it isn't gang affiliated, like Attack the Block, there's still some type of like hood aspect to it. And I don't blame the creators because it's like whatever comes to you as a creator is what you want to make type of thing. But I blame the people behind the scenes, like the broadcasters and whatnot, and networks and studios and whatnot for commissioning it. Because there's so many other stories that Black creators want to tell, but we just aren't given the opportunity to tell them. So again, it's not the fault of the creators, but more commissioners and whatnot. So I just hope going forward that things start to change. And the thing is, things are changing. But, progress is not as quick as I would want it to be personally.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that, so obviously, like, you kind of split it up where you've got the creators, so you've got the the directors and the writers that are brought into the writer's room, and you've got the actors and all of these people. But I think what probably, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because you're like behind the scenes in the industry, but I think what probably doesn't help is that first step of the pipeline, where it's like the production, the broadcasting, the commissioners, is still very white. And it's still very non-black. So I think that, do you know what I mean? And then it's only gonna, that gaze, that perspective, that kind of like thinking, it's inevitable that that's gonna tunnel all the way through.
Yeah, because, and I'm trying to extend a little bit of grace to them as well, because it's like, if they aren't raised around us, or they don't have friends who are like us, or just from our communities, they're not going to understand that there's like variance in the types of stories that we want to tell. But at the same time, it's kind of their job to understand, like, do you know what I mean? But because in other cultures, there's variance. But with us, it's always like same-ish type of stuff, which is, it's a bit shit, but can I swear? Sorry.
You can swear.
Okay.
You can be free.
Okay, cool.
I think what I kind of wanted to ask about as well, because again, you've got that perspective of being on that side of the industry, whereas I'm very much in the kind of like audience side. Okay. Like the audience, I think that would be like my main perspective, I'd say, would be the kind of issues where people are getting these shows that are commissioned that are slightly different, or do have like a slightly different kind of take on things, and then they get cancelled after one season, or they just disappear. Or people are waiting on the second season for like ever and ever, and it just kind of...
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like, I think, was it this year or end of last year, there was like a slate of black shows that just got cancelled.
Yeah, which, I mean, the strikes and stuff didn't help, I think. But
that didn't help. But again, I feel like, and I don't want to speak for all black shows, because I didn't watch all of them. Like, I watched a few of them that got cancelled, but I feel like some of the producers, they just don't care about the types of stories that we want to tell. And I think the fact that there were so many black shows that got made, especially during the pandemic, the whole George Floyd thing that went on, it was almost like, okay, we're going to give you guys some shows. Yeah, this is like a phase, and we're going to phase it out once the hype dies down.
And once it's not like a big thing anymore.
That's what it felt like. Exactly. That's what it felt like, which was such a shame. Because there was a few that were like really good that, got cancelled. But again, I don't blame the creators. It's all backstage, like the networks and all of that. So I don't know if that answered the question.
No, I get you. And then I guess maybe talk to me a little bit. I'm just like picking your brain here, because I'm like, oh my god, you're like in the industry. But talk to me a little bit about, I guess, kind of like, so let's take Top Boy for example, which I know obviously sits in that kind of like hood genre. Let's take Top Boy for example. It was on Channel 4 originally, which Channel 4 are kind of like renowned for supporting kind of like different talent, diverse talent and different perspectives and stuff, and that was all well and good, and then it kind of got closed off there, but not really closed off. It kind of just ended.
I think it just ended.
So it kind of ended on Channel 4, and then obviously you got this like influx of money from streaming platforms like Netflix. So for Top Boy, obviously it was Netflix that came in, but then also like Drake, I don't know, like, do you know what I mean? Like all this like so random, but you've also got this influx of money from this huge rapper. What is it about? Do you think that that's a good thing? Do you think that, so obviously Top Boy is a really good example, but then you've got like Champion, which had one and people really loved it, and it was just like, and now it's cancelled.
I didn't even know that. Damn.
And people really like the reaction to it was really, really good, and people loved it. And I think what doesn't help is obviously, so it's Netflix, right? We don't know the viewing figures. We can like research it deep, but we don't know them. It's not like YouTube where I can be like, oh, it didn't hit 1 million views, so that's why they cancelled it. So do you think that kind of like involvement from the streaming platforms is a good thing for Black British TV and film? Do you think we should stick to the more kind of like traditional broadcasting type routes?
I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's difficult to say, because everyone's experience working with either has been both positive and negative. Like, some people might be like, oh, with a Netflix you get a massive platform to showcase your work, but at the same time, because there's so much stuff on the platform, your stuff might not ever get seen, because it's like buried on top of like the Top Boys or the Stranger Things. So it's tricky to say which is better than the other. I think if I was to just give advice to myself as a creative and to like other people who are trying to like get their stuff on TV or on streaming, is to just go wherever they support your like vision or your story, go to the place where you can fully develop it and like you have a good team backing you and can like pour into the story. Don't just go where the money is, because I think that's also another thing with like creators. We just want to go where we get paid, and because the money's not great all the time. But if you can have an option between the two, just go wherever they support your vision. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So we've done the lows, so we can move on to the highs now, so we can get on to some positivity. But I guess my first question around the highs of Black British film, Black British TV would be, what's something that you've watched recently, Black British film, Black British TV show, that you were like, yeah, banging? Not necessarily, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be like last week, but, you know, in the last like year or so, what's something that you've watched that you were like, yeah, this is...
I'm biased.
Serious. Go for it. Be
I'm
biased.
very, very biased.
Be biased.
But so obviously I'm part of, or I worked on Supercell, the show that's coming out on in June, and I've seen it.
Okay.
And I would say it's amazing.
Okay.
And obviously
everything that you wrote was amazing.
Literally, no, but like he's just like, as a storyteller, even from like Shira's story and the stuff that he's made before, you can tell what a good storyteller he is. And I think Supercell is just like on another level, like the not perfect, obviously nothing's perfect, but the amazing storytelling plus like the whole superhero angle to it. Oh, so good. Like I honestly can't wait for it to come out. But that's one thing that I would say I've seen that I think is amazing. So yeah, and I'm biased, but
that's fine. You can be biased. That's fine. The most recent thing that I watched was Black British TV is Dreaming Whilst Black.
Oh my God. Oh,
which I thought
so
was
good.
So good. I watched the pilot episodes like last year, maybe it was on BBC. Like they were like 4, maybe like pilot episodes, and I remember watching it thinking, "Oh, guys, come on, please commission this. Like this is so good."
Yeah, John's amazing.
Yeah, he's so like the writing was so good. I think it really like captured. It had a so obviously being like Black and British, right, is like a weird kind of like, because the Black is like the main part, right? You're Black, that's like your main kind of like identifier, the main thing that you like connect with.
You can't hide it.
You can't hide it, exactly. But the British part is still really important, I think. I think that being Black British and being like African American, we're really different.
We are.
Being in Britain, being in England, like there's still like nuances, English nuances that are like important. And I think that Dreamer Whilst Black captured those really well. Like even the whole like workplace settings.
Yeah, oh, so funny.
Like that is true. Like I was watching it and I was like, yeah, I get that. Like being in the workplace, like just having to deal with like British people, as in like English British people, having to deal with them. Like I feel like it captured it really well. That kind of like 50-50, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing with being Black and British. I thought that was really good. My other thing that I've locked in my head and now I'm unlocking about Borders. So I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not gonna cast judgment. But I have heard that there are Nigerian accents in that show that are horrendous.
Oh no!
And my only thing is, and this is just a PSA to people making shows out there, Jessica, this one's for you.
Oh God!
If you are going to get, so I think my main issue with this is that there are so many Nigerians. Just a lot of us, everywhere. There's no country you can go to without finding Nigeria. Like we're everywhere.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to me when I'm watching these shows, and it's either not a Nigerian playing someone who's meant to be like a quintessential. Sex Education, Eric's mum. It was the same thing.
Yeah. Hers wasn't too bad though.
Hers was actually very bad. If
you
No, it was actually it was actually really bad.
Oh no.
And it actually made me like, every time she spoke, I was like, oh God, please stop talking, please stop talking.
Do you know what it is? I feel like I've numbed myself to not expect a good accent.
Which is bad. I think that's bad.
It is bad. Like I don't expect to hear good Nigerian accent.
I just think there's so many, like right now, so we're in Peckham, for those wondering, we're filming in Peckham. And like, are you telling me we can just walk out now and find like a, and I'm not saying just any Nigerian. I actually mean even like a creative Nigerian that probably acted back in Nollywood, in wherever. Like, I think you could do it.
Again, there's no blame to put anywhere. I don't want to put any blame on anyone. But usually, from my experience, the casting process of shows, films, whatever, there's not a lot of Black casting directors, number one
Fine,
in our
okay.
industry. So that then means if there are white people casting for a show with Nigerians, they don't know what the accent is like.
Fine,
So they just put the call out, okay, black actors, age, whatever to whatever, give us a tape with an African accent or a Nigerian accent. They will say and then they'll get selected.
Oh my God, you got PTSD.
So that's why, like, obviously, as a black creative, if you are Nigerian and you've casted a Nigerian for your show, it's obviously on you as well to like quality
Make
control.
sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. There are like Nigerian actors, but yes, I don't know.
I think it's the quality control thing. I feel like if I was making a show, even if we had someone that was like Nigerian and like they were doing the accent, I think I'd need to like bring in my dad for just that final like quality control. Like just come along to set and just listen to this guy for 5 minutes. Please just give me 5 minutes of your day.
I get that.
Just to give me a quick little bit of quality control. And if my dad says it's all good, then my dad can go home and go about his day and like we can continue filming.
He has the final sign-off.
I think it needs to be that. Will, please cooperate with me. Let's go. Okay, 10. Jessica, for number 10 is called Cancelled.
Uh-oh.
Sounds scarier than it is. All I need you to do is tell me a show that you think got cancelled too early and why you think that.
I would say, I think Riches got cancelled too early.
Okay.
And I feel like it got cancelled too early because it had the foundations of something really, really great. But, and this is the case for a lot of shows where the first season is like finding its footing.
Yeah,
and then in season 2, that's where it's like, oh shit. Like
we're
this
starting
is,
now. Yeah.
Especially because like, number one, the characters have like almost settled into themselves because the actors have come, they've added their own like, nuance to the role.
Of course.
So then in season 2, you've got all the sauce.
Yeah,
in season
and
1
now
that
you
could
can
make
like build
better.
on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, Riches is probably what I would say.
Yeah, fine. I think it's mad. This is what I kind of alluding to with like the streaming stuff. Love streaming services, don't get me wrong. But I think pre-streaming services or like early days of streaming services when we had like shows, that was what season 1 was used for. And that was fine. Like if you go back and watch all of these shows that are like really reputable and like people Breaking Bad season 1, come on, slow.
Hey, whoa,
I love Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad, but I
Hey.
rewatched it and I was like, I kind of get why people can't get into this. As I was rewatching it, I was like, I know where it's going, so I'm good.
Yes.
But it is like we're just watching these characters become these characters.
True.
We're watching them settle in.
That's true. I'll give you that. Well, personally, I love Breaking Bad. It's one of the best shows ever.
Agreed. But I think, they did have like more time to settle in. Another show that I have watched is Mad Men.
Oh my God, that was literally in my brain. I was literally about to say Mad Men.
Season 1 was
dry. Season 1 was dry.
Season 1 was dry. But people talk about Don Draper like he's the best character ever. So
I can't lie.
They gave him time.
They did give him time. Because the later seasons were
oh my God,
absolutely.
Absolutely. But they gave him time, which I think we don't get as much.
We don't. And
anymore.
I think this is I blame, this is where I do blame.
All right, let's blame, let's blame this one.
I blame streaming for this, where back in the day, like you said, like Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, season 1 was like, it was almost like we're just trialing the story. We're trialing the characters.
We're laying the foundations. Yeah.
And then
Completely
as it went
agree.
on, it's like, it found its footing, which is such a shame because now with streaming, it's like, okay, I think there was like, I heard somewhere where on Netflix, I'm sure it probably translates across to the other platforms. If a episode isn't viewed all the way to the end or only viewed halfway, that's like really, really bad. And apparently the show could get cancelled off of that alone.
Which is madness.
Crazy.
The whole point of streaming is to add convenience. If I pause halfway through, that doesn't
That's the thing. But then it's like, in their minds, they're thinking, for the fact that you've paused this or for the fact that you haven't watched it all the way to the end, like you haven't binged it, means that you don't like it. Which isn't
insane.
the case. It's not always the case. But yeah, I blame streaming for that.
Blame streaming.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to know a little bit about your experience working directly with Sky, I want to say, for Daddy's Girl. Tell me about what I would love to know is kind of the process for Daddy's Girl just in general, like the writing and direction of that.
Yep.
And then like the commissioning process, working with Sky,
Yeah.
you did it through like a scheme, I want to say, or some kind of
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Okay. So Daddy's Girl, funnily enough, was actually a different idea completely. Kobe Adom, shout out to Kobe. He had basically secured the funding for 5 shorts. And obviously I love to write, so I would always send him like my stuff, like, oh, can you read this? Can you read that?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, Jess, like, have you got an idea for a short? Like, you know, I have the money, so if you've got anything good, then bring it. So I pitched an idea, had the script and everything, and was working on it for a while actually, like maybe a few months. And then like the development exec and Kobe was like, yeah, can't lie, Jess, this ain't it.
Oh
This
my
ain't
God,
it,
really?
G. He's like, this ain't it, G. And then he was like, oh yeah, maybe next year. And I was like, no, please, no. I'll come up with another idea. Like, just give me some time. So then within, I think it was like over Christmas, like over the Christmas break, I didn't even have Christmas dinner. I was like, I need to come up with another idea. So I literally came up with another idea, which was Daddy's Girl.
Fine.
Which was like very, very loosely based off of the relationship between me and my dad. And then, yeah, pitched it to Kobe. He like loved the idea. So the development exec, Marissa, hi Marissa, if you're watching. And yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. And then obviously the next, I guess, 5 to 6 months was where we were just developing the script. And then, yeah, we shot in May and then, yeah, put it out, I think the next April, I think. Yeah, that's kind of roughly how it came to be.
Yeah, nice. Okay. And in terms of, obviously you mentioned earlier you've worked on Supercell, which is this new show on Netflix. It's a rap man kind of like production, I want to say. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did that come to be a thing? What was your kind of role on the show, or like your involvement with the show?
So Raps was actually at the premiere for Daddy's Girl. He came just to, you know, as part of the viewing, and he seemed to like it. And then the exec for Supercell was also there too. So then they were like, oh, you know, if you're interested, we've got a shadowing scheme available for Supercell. Like, he was shadow Raps on the show. And so, yeah, for the first, like in pre-production and for majority of the production time, I was shadowing Raps, literally on set with him, in meetings, just like literally in his shadow, like, oh, you know, squeezing onto set, like, I'm sorry, I'm taking up space, but I need to see everything. And then, like, I guess a few months after that, they had some second unit stuff available, and Raps was like, well, Jess, you've been here, time to show what you've
been in my shadow.
Like, been in my shadow. It's time to step out of the shadow and into the director's chair. So yeah, I got to direct some second unit stuff on Supercell. And yeah, it was just amazing. The whole experience was so good. Like, I couldn't.
That's so mad. What was the time frame? Like, what's the time frame for working on a show like that? Yeah.
Ooh. So we first were in pre-production in 2022, and everything is like wrapped and like edited beginning of this year.
Mad. So, yeah. It's just a real process. Yeah.
Big, especially for a show like that, where it's like there was a lot of green screen, a lot of VFX, a lot of CGI, like literally, if not all days, most of the days there was like a CGI coordinator on set to be like, can we do this? Can we not? Is this possible? Yeah. How much? So yeah, that was like, the experience was just so phenomenal, brilliant. I can't wait for it to come out.
Neither can I. Yeah, I'm excited. Cool, so we're going to do a trivia quiz. It's under time conditions, so production will get your timer ready. Tell me when you're ready and we'll start.
Okay. Ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. In the film Blue Story, which 2 areas of South London had beef?
Lewisham and Deptford? Lewisham and Peckham.
Yep. What are the names of the 2 British TV shows created by Michaela Cole?
I May Destroy You and Chewing Gum.
Yep, well done. In the TV show Champion, what were the character names of the 2 siblings?
Pass, I don't know. I can't remember.
Bosco and Vita. Name this show based on the description. Comedy drama series set in southeast London following a group of friends trying to negotiate their way through teenage life in a world that's more about swagger than straight A's.
What? Say that again?
Comedy drama series set in southeast London following a group of friends trying to negotiate their way through teenage life in a world that's more about swagger than straight A's.
Yeah, no, pass.
Youngers. Question.
Oh my God.
Who played the role? Who played the role of Solomon Northup in the 2013 film 12 Years a Slave?
Oh, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Well done.
Yeah.
Samson Ko, Weriche Opia, Danielle Vitalis star in which British sitcom?
A ghost?
No, Sliced. In a TV series, Idris Elba portrays a brilliant but troubled detective in London. What's his character name?
Luther.
Well done.
Oh man, that youngest one, that's burning me. 'Cause Calvin's in Supercell, and I loved him in Youngers. So it's like, oh man.
I went so quickly. That was fun.
I know it was.
I don't want to leave.
Same.
Cool. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Silver Screen Society. I'm excited to see what you do in the future. I'm excited to watch Supercell when it comes out on Netflix.
Yes.
June. I'm excited. Yeah. Have anything you want to say to the people, where they can kind of find your stuff, where they can see what you're up to, anything like that?
I guess you could follow me on Instagram. Like DM me if you are an actor or a writer or a director looking for just, I don't know, to talk, engage, whatnot. It's just my full name, so Jessica Magaye. Jessica Magaye. And yeah, if you want to watch my stuff, Daddy's Girl is still on Sky Go. So if you've got Sky Go, and it's on YouTube as well. So if you just type in Daddy's Girl, you'll see it. And yeah, that's about it, I think.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Is that it? That's it?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. That was good. That was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching an episode of Silver Screen Society. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that. Bye.